Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. This is our final episode in the Start Here series. My name is Dominic, and before we explore how to bring mindfulness into your work and daily tasks, let's take a moment to notice what it's like to have a purpose right now. You chose to be here, much like you chose the outfit that you're wearing right now, or what you're eating right now, or what you're drinking right now. These are all choices we make pretty unconsciously most of the time. But this was a conscious choice you made to show up and click play on this episode. You decided to spend this time learning about conscious living. So I want you to feel that intention in your body, the quality of showing up for something that matters to you. In this episode, we're completing our foundation with the third pillar. How do we bring mindfulness to work, to the work of being human? Most of us spend our waking hours at work. And I'm not just talking about your job, and even though that's a part of it, you work when you wash dishes, send emails, have conversations, make decisions, solve problems. From the moment you wake up until you go to sleep, you're engaged in the work of living. Most of this work happens on autopilot. You brush your teeth while planning your day. You eat your lunch while checking your messages. You listen to conversations while mentally preparing your response. Your body's present, but your attention's scattered across multiple tasks and time zones. So how can we take this daily work and make it a practice? Like, what if washing dishes could be as centering as when you sit for your formal meditation practice? What if answering emails could be an opportunity to cultivate your patience? And what if every conversation could be a chance to practice your presence? This isn't about you being productive or efficient. It's about being awake during the activities that fill up your life. Being on autopilot serves an important purpose. It allows you to perform routine tasks without having to consciously think through every step, saving you energy and time. So you don't need to remember how to tie your shoes or drive to work. Your body and your brain just handles it. But here's the deal. Autopilot is a problem when it's your default mode for everything, when it's the only tool you have in your toolkit. You eat meals without tasting them. You have conversations without actually hearing what was said. You complete tasks without thinking about the next 17 things on your to-do list. Life becomes a blur of getting through things rather than experiencing them. Checking the box for the sake of checking it. And then you arrive at the end of your day and you wonder where your time went. We're all guilty of it, myself included. So what is the alternative? Intentional work. And that means bringing your conscious attention to whatever you're doing right now. It's the opposite of mindless multitasking. Instead of trying to do 3 things at once poorly, you do one thing at a time with full presence. This doesn't mean working slower or less efficiently. Often it means working better because your full attention is available for the task at hand. I like to think of intentional work as having 3 components: arrival, attention, and completion. Arrival means consciously beginning each task. Before you start anything, making coffee, answering an email, having a conversation, pause for just a moment. Take one breath and set a clear intention. Ask yourself, what does this task actually require from me right now? This prevents you from carrying the energy and distraction from your previous activity into the current one. To stop the run-on sentence that is often our daily lives. Attention means staying present with what you're actually doing. So when you're washing dishes, feel the warm water and the texture of the plates. When you're writing an email, pay attention to choosing words that communicate clearly. When someone's speaking to you, listen to their actual words instead of preparing your response. Single tasking becomes a meditation practice. Completion. It means consciously finishing each task before you move on to the next. Instead of leaving things half done and jumping to something else, take a moment to acknowledge that something is actually complete. This creates clean transitions between activities and prevents the mental clutter of a bunch of unfinished business. Here's how something like this could look in practice. Arrival. Before you check your email, pause for one breath and set the intention to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Attention. While reading each message, give it your full attention instead of skimming while thinking about lunch. Completion. After responding in the email, take a moment to acknowledge the task is finished before you move on to your next activity. Using this framework will help you to transform routine work into a mindfulness practice in and of itself. So let's consider some of the ways that we can apply this in a workplace scenario. Using meetings as an opportunity to practice our presence. So instead of checking your phone or planning what you're going to say next, pay full attention to whoever's speaking. Notice when your mind wants to multitask and then return it back to simply listening. This makes meetings more productive and less draining because you're not splitting your attention the entire time. You're staying locked in. Allowing email to become a practice of patience. The next time you get an email, before you respond, especially the difficult ones, take a breath and ask yourself what's actually needed here, and then respond from clarity rather than immediate reaction. Note, if you answer that question negatively, don't respond negatively. That's not the point. Recognize the sense of negativity arising and really honestly answer the question, what's needed here? Because the goal is to prevent the exchange from spiraling into a complete misunderstanding. Let your phone calls become connection or a connection practice. When your phone rings, pause for one ring before you answer it. Use that moment to set your intention to fully be present for whoever's on the other end of the call. Transforming the interruption into an opportunity for conscious connection. Let your transitions become reset opportunities. Every time you're about to move from one task to another, use the transition as a mindfulness bell. Take a breath, set a fresh intention, and arrive fully for the next activity. Doing this will help prevent the accumulation of stress and distraction throughout the day. Let problem solving open you up to curiosity. When you encounter challenges in work, instead of immediately getting frustrated, pause and get curious. What is the situation asking of me? What creative solution might emerge if I approach this with openness rather than resistance? What might I learn here? In a sense, you turn the obstacle into the way by making it an opportunity for growth. And with those ideas in mind, let's run through a guided practice of how we might set up the opportunity for intentional work together. My goal is to kind of guide you through a simple task using the arrival, attention, and completion framework. If you have a piece of paper and a pen nearby, I'd ask you to get them. If not, you can do this practice with any simple object, a cup, a book, anything that might be within reach. Obviously, if you're not in a place where you can do this right now, please come back to the practice at a later time and join us. With that being said, let's begin with arrival. Look at the object in front of you as if you've never seen it before. With a sense of curiosity and wonder, what does it actually look like? What's its texture, its weight, its color? Take one conscious breath and set the intention to give this object your full and complete attention for the next few minutes. We will now move to attention. If you have paper and pen, I want you to write your name very slowly and deliberately. Pay attention to the feeling of the pen in your fingers. Notice the sound it makes as it moves across the paper. Feel the resistance as you form each letter. If you happen to be working with a different object, explore it with the same quality of attention, feeling its weight, texture, temperature. With the goal to notice details you never have observed before. Notice when your mind wants to rush through this simple task. There's no deadline and no urgency. You can take as much time as you want to write your name or explore your object. What happens when you slow down and pay attention to something you usually do automatically? If or when your mind drifts to other things, your to-do list, your plans for later, your judgments about this whole exercise, simply notice where it went and then return your attention to the task at hand. As with all of our practices thus far, the returning is the work. In essence, it is the practice. This is how you train your attention to stay present with whatever you're doing. Continue with whatever tasks you've chosen. Only now I want you to add an element of appreciation into the mix. Feel grateful for your ability to hold the pen, to write, or to manipulate objects with your hands in general. These are remarkable skills and capabilities that go often taken for granted. As you near the completion of your task, don't rush towards the finish. Stay present until the very end. Write the final letter of your name with the same attention you gave to the first letter. To practice completion, put down your pen or set down your object. Take a moment to acknowledge that this task is now complete. Notice what it felt like to do something simple with your full and complete attention. Savor and feel the satisfaction of conscious completion before you move on to whatever comes next. This week, as a part of our attention challenges, you'll be integrating all three of the pillars into your practice. Continue your daily sitting meditation of 5 minutes and 5 minutes of walking practice from the previous weeks. Now I want you to add intentional work to one routine task every day. Choose something you do regularly: making your morning coffee, brushing your teeth, washing your dishes, responding to an email, and apply the arrival, attention, and completion framework to just this one activity. Here's some things to observe as going through the process. How does bringing full attention to routine tasks change your experience of them? Do they take longer, shorter, or about the same amount of time than when you do them with conscious attention? Notice the difference between doing something to get it over with versus doing it as a practice of presence. Well, congratulations. You've been introduced to all three pillars of conscious living, to the core foundations of what this practice is and kind of what this content is about. You know how to sit with awareness, walk with presence, and work with intention. These aren't separate practices. They kind of all bleed together. They're different expressions of the same fundamental skill: the art of paying attention to what's actually happening right now. And while this may complete our Start Here series, it's really just the beginning of your journey with conscious living. I hope you continue to join me in future episodes, because we're going to explore the practices even more deeply, address common challenges, and discover how mindfulness can transform every aspect of our daily lives. So thank you for walking this path with me. May your attention continue to be a gift to yourself and everyone around you.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with metta may you be well.
Like and subscribe.